Welcome back to the channel, you guys. As I already told you in the previous video, I gave you my favorite films of 2025, but I also have to come and give y'all my least favorite films of 2025 because 2025 wasn't the best year of film, as I already explained in the previous video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into what films I did not vibe with last year. First up is Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, I didn't hate this film. I just want to preface it with that. But ever since we first got introduced to the Fantastic Four, or the concept of the Fantastic Four in the MCU, which was years ago, I feel like at the end of either Spider-Man No Way Home or Spider-Man Far From Home, they hinted at the Fantastic Four coming. And then ever since then, since like 2021, we've kind of been like all going through this like fan cast phase of like phase of who we want to like see as our Fantastic Four, how we want the makeup to be, or things like that. What we want the costumes to look like, whether we want it to be like retro, or whether we want it to be like futuristic and new, or whatever. And then you have like, multiverse, like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness comes out, and then you have like John Krasinski, who's in there as Reed Richards from like a different universe. And so then it also like made us think like, what are they gonna do with the Fantastic Four? Will John Krasinski and Emily Blunt be like our Mr. Fantastic and our Wonder Woman, or will all these other fan casts that we want, like Nicole Bahari as Sue, like occur? That didn't occur. So then they announced the cast, and so the film stars Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Eben Moss-Backrack as Ben, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and then Julia Gardner as the Silver Surfer, right? Written by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, and Jeff Kaplan, and directed by Matt Shakman himself. My thoughts on this film: the film was disappointing. That's what I would say. I had a lot of expectations for this film because I do have a space in my heart for the original two films, Fantastic Four, which came out, I believe, like 2003, and then like Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which came out in like 2006, 2007. And so I did like those films as a kid. I know a lot of people didn't like those films, but I saw those films when I was literally in elementary school. I love those films. I played those films out. I thought all the action sequences in those films were perfect. I was obsessed with Jessica Alba as Sue Storm. I was obsessed with Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. I was obsessed with everything that had to go on with that whole entire franchise. Obviously, we skip over the Fantastic Four reboot that happened in 2015 with Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller and all of that. No. We don't go there. We don't go down those roads again. So like it couldn't be worse than that though. So I knew this film isn't worse than that. But is it better than the original films? Who knows? And in some ways there is. I think the cinematography of this film is better. It looks great. I think the CGI and the VFX look great in this film. I think you have that film where they're trying to like time jump or like space jump, and they're going into that planet or the sun or whatever it is, and they're in like the asteroid belt of the planet or the rings, and they're trying to get away, and the Silver Surfer's chasing them. In those moments, that's a beautiful scene. I think how all of the powers are displayed look great, but they're not really utilized. And I also think that like the story of, I think the dynamics between the characters were proper, but I just felt like everything was missing something. I feel like everything outside of the cinematography was like missing something. The dynamics between the characters, it was just missing enough story. I felt like the energy of each character was missing something. I felt like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, he didn't have enough time to like show us who Reed Richards is when it comes to like the screenplay. And I feel like Sue Storm had like a lot of time, but then also like she didn't have a lot of time with her powers in this film, in my opinion. Like the array of her powers, I should say. And then Johnny Storm, he got a lot of time, and I think Johnny got a lot of time in this film, but I think that there's like a little bit more of the dynamic between Johnny Storm and Silver Surfer, Julia Gardner's character, that could have been like fleshed out, because I feel like they have like at the first act or first half of this film, they have like a lot of tension, and then it kind of like fizzles out by the time you get to the end, and then like we have like this like tying up of Julia Gardner where like she just like comes to the realization that like, oh no, like she doesn't want to be a servant of Galactus. She wants to be of her own. She wants to not have to go through every single planet doing the same that he did to her planet. All this stuff. It was just like a whole bunch of like misdirections, I feel like, honestly. And so I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't like love it. If it was on, I would let it play in the background while I'm cooking, but I don't think I would really want to rewatch it. I do hope that in Doomsday that they have a lot more to do in that film. However, I just don't see this film being valuable to me in the future, which is kind of disappointing because I'm really enthralled with Pedro Pascal. And so I was really trying to see like what he was going to do this year in regards to his film output. And unfortunately, like all the films that he was in this year, except Freaky Tales, I did not like. But we'll get to those other ones. Speaking of superhero films or comic book movie films, the next on my list is Superman. Yes, James Gunn's Superman, which is written by James Gunn, Jerry Siegel, and Joe Shuster, directed by James Gunn himself, starring David Cornsweet as Clark Kent, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I hated this film. I don't like this film at all. Superman is bad. Superman is bad. I have to shout it from the rooftops because people won't listen. Like, people won't admit that this film is bad. This film is very corny. This film is just it's so lame. Like, this film is so lame in so many ways. And I feel like Superman really pissed me off because a lot of the rhetoric in regards to Superman this year was like, don't you just, like, Superman just made me feel good. It just made me feel good. It just made me feel like there's hope to the world. Like, we have so much hope in the world and there's something to look forward to in the future. And I was like, what reality are you people living in? Like, what are you living in? The storytelling that goes on in this film is absurd in my opinion. Like, it's so absurd in my opinion. I feel like the way that James Gunn tried to handle the current Palestinian genocide and all of that stuff, it's so absurd in my opinion. I think trying to like make Nicholas Hoult. First of all, I think Nicholas Hoult is not a good Lex Luthor. I do not find Nicholas Hoult's Lex Luthor to be interesting or intriguing. I don't want to see him back on my screen. Please don't bring him back. I heard that they're bringing him back for Man of Tomorrow. If they bring Lex Luthor back and Clark Kent works with Lex Luthor, this Lex Luthor, then I don't want it. I don't want it at all. It's all a sham. It's all stupid. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor just felt very odd. It felt it felt worse than Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Like, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is more appealing to me than Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is just like the worst type of villain I ever, like, it's not the worst, it's the worst type of person I could ever see on screen. Like, that archetype of the Lex Luthor they're trying to create, like this very like, you know, this very like Elon Musky, very like technical, like, you know, savant, but then also like very like man-child and very incel-y, but then also like very like conservative, but then also like very vile, and then also like slightly handsome is what they want us to believe, but I don't find this Lex Luthor handsome in any way. I'm not a Nicholas Hoult truther. Like, I know there's some Nicholas Hoult lovers out there. Y'all gotta stay over there. Y'all have to stay over there, okay? Because over here, we're not doing that. I also didn't think I didn't think Clark Kent and Lois Lane's dynamic was endearing at all. Like, I didn't like it. I know they tried to like have moments with that. Like, they have the whole kitchen scene moment, or like the whole moment in her apartment where like she's trying to interrogate him and like his philosophies as Superman. It didn't hit for me. It really didn't, because I just don't really believe David Cornsweet's Superman at all. Like, I just don't find David Cornsweet's Superman to be like a Superman that I'm going to say that's my Superman. It's not my Superman. Everything else in the film, corny. The Justice Gang, corny. All of that stuff, corny. Leave it alone. Keep the dog away. Keep the dog out the films. Like please keep the mutt out the films. I hate pluckiness, but I extremely hate plucky dogs. Like, please stop with the dog crave. Dog people have to be put like in a corner. I was gonna say put to rest, but put to rest is crazy. But y'all need to be put in a corner, and y'all need to go over there and play with your dogs over there. Not all of us want to see dogs. We don't care about dogs. It's not endearing. All the little like pluckiness that Crypto does in this film, just because he's a goofy dog, it doesn't make sense to me. It's stupid. Get all of that out of here. Y'all love it. Love that for y'all. Actually, I hate that for y'all. I hate that y'all love something like this. Something so corny and tacky and lame as James Gunn's Superman. However, I'm going to move on because talking about it anymore is going to just like piss me off. Die My Love. So Die My Love is written by Edna Walsh, Lynn Ramsey, and Alice Birch. It's directed by Lynn Ramsey herself, and it stars Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. What do I feel about this film? I don't feel much about this film. if I'm being honest, I like don't feel much about this film. I'm trying to think like what do I even think about this film? Um, I think Jennifer Lawrence is a great actress, and I think this film kind of like proves that. It proves that she actually has like real talent. Because I know there's a lot of people who kind of still like don't believe in like the whole J Law persona, but like J Law is real. Like J Law is to be respected. Let's do that. Let's not play with Miss Jennifer Lawrence. Robert Pattinson, obviously, he's a well respected actor. He's one of the greatest young actors we have right now, or young in terms of like 30-year-old actors, I should say. And I think he's like been on a roll all his characters. I don't think there's one role that Robert Pattinson had in the year 2025 that I disliked. Even this character in this film. I get that this film is like an allegory for motherhood and like the perils and tribulations for motherhood, but the year 2025, as I said before, parenthood was just like this overarching topic to the point of where like I got so burnt out. Like there's just so many moments where I was just like, I'm burnt out. Like I just can't relate. I can't empathize. I can't sympathize. And this was kind of like not in a burnt out moment. Like I came to this like after I had a break from all the parenting like conversations. I'm trying to like remember when I exactly saw this film and what movies I saw it in between. But basically it was a good day when I saw Die My Love. So I really don't have any issue with it. Outside of the ending is just like, I hate when you end films where it just makes me feel like everything else I just watched prior to this ending means nothing. Like if you're gonna end it how this film ends, where like they run into the woods and like burn up in flames, like the whole film needs to have had uber meaning. But just to end it like that is like, okay, like I guess like, you know, being a mother just drives you so crazy that like postpartum depression just drives you so crazy that you just end up wanting to like unalive yourself and like just burn up in the flames of the forest. Is that what we're saying? Maybe I don't have the proper perspective, but that's why I'm saying like I hate all this like parenthood talk, because it's like I'm not gonna understand it if you don't just not bluntly, but if you just don't clearly offer a message of parenthood to me. So sorry. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. So this is a film that's written by Mary Bronstein, directed by Mary Bronstein, starring Rose Byrne, Conan O'Brien, Danielle McDonald, Delaney Quinn, and Mary Bronstein. A lot of people love this film, and when I saw this film, I'm like, I don't really understand what y'all are seeing that I'm not seeing. Like, I just don't understand what message here is so profound, because as I just told you, I just been so burnt out of this like motherhood, empathy, sympathy, like trend that's going on, or parenthood trend that's going on, that I can't really give it to it. And like, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You really is doing nothing special in my opinion. I don't think people are like raving over Rose Byrne's performance in this film, and I'm like, please tell me what scene or sequence is like just like Oscar-worthy performance, please. Like, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. But I really don't even want to harp on that, because Jessie Buckley's going to get all the awards in regards to this, so I don't even care. I'm not even going to try to like shit on Rose Byrne at this moment, but I just don't see the value in Rose Byrne's performance. Every single storyline that happens in this film, it never can get to a point where I can really just be like, I can latch onto it. Rose Byrne's character's relationship with Conan O'Brien's character doesn't ever, it gets stepped on before you can ever get somewhere with those two. Rose Byrne and her daughter don't really understand what's going on there. Like, I get, it's like a little like, I get the gist of it, but it doesn't really, I can't latch on to that, especially with that ending. Rose Byrne and her husband, I could care less. Divorce him, baby. Divorce him. Rose Byrne and the hotel people, mentioning that. A$AP Rocky, please leave us alone. Please leave us alone. I'm so tired of musicians trying to fit their way into the film scene when they're not serious about being actors. A$AP Rocky, people are like, oh my gosh, A$AP Rocky is doing so good in this film. No, he is not. Why are y'all lying? No, he's not. He's giving the baseline effort ever. Everybody else in this film is doing better than him. Everyone else is doing better in this film than A$AP Rocky. So please stop. Like, the final sequence like kind of pissed me off, because like, why are we giving him the spotlight to just like be so basic and so like bland and so like one note? It just really pissed me off. But at the same time, I can't be mad at him, because I feel like everyone in this bitch is one note. Like, everyone in this film is just one note. Even her patient, the whole storyline with Danielle McDonald's character, like, she just runs off into the abyss. Like, really? After she just whacks her and abandoned her child? Like, okay, honestly, like we should rename the film to like If I Had Your Life, I Would Off Myself Too. Because that's what I felt like watching it. Like, oh yeah, your life sucks and I would have walked into the ocean just as you did. I wouldn't have came back though. Moving on. Materialist. Okay, so obviously like Celine Song is beloved by a certain corner of like the cinephile world. So Materialist is written by Celine Song, it's directed by Celine Song, it stars Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal, and Zoe Winters. I didn't like this film at all. I give this film like 3 out of 5 stars because I'm very neutral on this film to a certain extent, but there's a lot of about this film that I just don't like. I feel like the film's messaging is so unsuccessful. I feel like the film's messaging is so unsuccessful. You want to talk about these like dynamics between like financial relationships within like romantic relationships. It does it so poorly. You want to talk about accountability when it comes to like, you know, SA and all of these things and like all things surrounding that with Zoe Winters' character, it just, when it comes to Dakota Johnson's character, it just does not make sense really. It's not really logical and nobody really is like moving as like logical adults would. Chris Evans' character, he's just here. Like he's just here. I feel like we're supposed to like feel like because we have all this, like good faith for Chris Evans, like we're just supposed to have good faith for Chris Evans' character and I don't. Like he's bummy. You should not be with him. Pedro Pascal's character is summed up to it's so stupid how his character is zipped out of the storyline with the knee stuff. Like it's just so stupid. Like I know it's supposed to be cute and corny, but it's not. It's not. Zoe Winters doing an amazing acting performance in this film. I think she's the best part of this film. Everything else, it's a chop. Relay. Let's talk about Relay. So Relay, I actually loved Relay for the first 2 acts, and then the third act, it just fully fell out. So like that, obviously I already stated in my previous video, that's a trend. The third acts in 2025, like third acts are just sucky. Like the third act in If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, sucky. The third act in Die My Love, sucky. The third act in First Step, sucky. The third act in Superman, sucky. Like all these things have like bad third acts. And so the Relay, I thought we were getting somewhere. I had a lot of anticipation for Relay. I really went in like really wanting to like it because I like the premise of it, and it was really, really good until we got to the plot twist where Lily James's character is like the villain. Like she set him up like she's like a double agent in a way, and it was just so stupid. It was just so stupid. Like it was just so stupid that we did that. Like why did we do that? Like now the whole film is a sham. All this tension that they built up, it doesn't get to be paid off. You just threw it all away. You think it's smart, and then you have Sam Worthington's character over here like being like the antagonistic figure who really just becomes nothing by the end of it. And Willis Fitzgerald's character as well. Willis Fitzgerald is just here to like give aura, like she's just aura farming, but she's not really like doing anything, and it's like such a waste of Willis Fitzgerald as well. But the first 2 acts of this film are really good. Like they really are. Like they're really good. We could have had something, Justin Piasecki. Like we could have had something, but your pen just went out of ink after like that first hour and 15 minutes. I don't know what was wrong with that, but let's just do better in the future, David Mackenzie, the director, okay? Jurassic World Rebirth. Okay, so I love Jurassic World films. I love Jurassic Park films. I love Jurassic World films. However, this one was just like pure like Jurassic World slop. Like there was nothing in this film that I thought was just like really unique to like the Jurassic World outside of seeing like the dinosaur designs to a certain extent because they were a little bit different. They did give them a lot of different like more exotic patterning on the dinosaurs, but outside of that, I didn't really find anything about this film to be like just like uniquely better than any other of the other films. When I rank my Jurassic Park films and Jurassic World films and where they all fit in with each other, I'm trying to think. Rebirth is probably second to last. At the last would be probably not Dominion, but Fallen Kingdom. Fallen Kingdom will probably be, or will Dominion be at the bottom? Which one did I like better? Did I like Dominion or Fallen Kingdom better? I feel like I might be putting Dominion at the bottom. It depends. I haven't rewatched Dominion or Fallen Kingdom, but Rebirth is always going to be at bottom 2 regardless. It's not going to be at the bottom, but it's going to be at bottom 2. So it stars Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali and Jonathan Bailey, who I all think came to work and did what they needed to do. Everybody in this cast is doing what they needed to do, even the ensemble characters. I love the Little Family. The Little Family was cool. All the actors and actresses for the Little Family, love them. That was cute. What can I say like just really about this film like really like touched me? I can't really say anything, and that's the issue. Usually I have so much enthusiasm when it comes to Jurassic Park films. So if I'm walking away from a Jurassic Park film not really feeling anything, it's already like, you know, nail in the coffin for it. I think the biggest issue with this film is the premise of the antagonistic dinosaurs. Usually what makes these Jurassic World films is like, what villain dinosaur are we dealing with? So obviously, like in the first one, you have like the big like evil T-Rex, like mutate genetically modified like T-Rex figure, and then in the Fallen Kingdom you have like the mutated like generated like raptor figure. And then in Dominion, you have like those very like bird-like prehistoric like dinosaurs, right? And then here you have this like very like mangled like genetically modified like T-Rex, but it's mixed with all these other genetics, so it's just very deformed and very odd looking dinosaur figure. But it really just like immobilized because there's so much plot armor against the characters that like the dinosaur doesn't really have any moments that are like special to it. It's just really rehashing like old pathways that like the other antagonistic dinosaurs have already gone down in the lore. I think if this film would be so much better if they focused on those like evolved mutated raptors who are kind of like semi-aquatic but also like pterodactyls but also raptors at the same time, who kill a raptor in the film. Like I feel like if there was like a pack of them, which they are the smaller antagonistic villains for a certain extent, but I feel like if we just made them like the issue at hand, then the premise of the whole film would be way better, because like they're just so much more menacing and more scary and more interesting than that big blob is, and more effective as well, because like the whole Mahershala Ali fake out scene, it's like how did Mahershala Ali even get away? Like, oh, it's just plot armor for what reason? Because y'all want to film another one. Disappointing. Bring Her Back. Okay, Bring Her Back. I gave Bring Her Back 2.5 out of 5 stars. Why? Well, it's written by the Philippou brothers, I believe is how you say their last name, and directed by them as well. And it stars Billy Barrett, Sally Hawkins, Sora Wong, and Jonah Wren Phillips. I think the premise of this film is great. However, everyone involved, they don't care about the premise, which was so weird to me. The whole like demonic cult who like can like revive people through like sacrifice or whatever is going on, they just kind of like throw that away. Like it's always like we start the film off with the videotapes for that, and then like they never really come back to that. They don't even go into like explaining like what's really going on with like the little boy. I can't remember his name right now, but what's going on with the little boy who was initially kidnapped and how he's being like sacrificed to be like some type of like demonic figure. They don't really go into that. I did like how awkward, you know, Sally Hawkins' character is in regards to her new adoptive children, and like, you know, the creepy moments where she's doing all these ritualistic things to Billy Barrett's character, I believe, and like the older teenage son, and how she's doing all these like ritualistic things to him and trying to set him up to get him away so then she could like sacrifice Sora Wong's character to bring back her daughter and all this stuff. But then also you have like all those creepy moments where like the little boy who's already been kidnapped, he's like already on the way to becoming like this like evil demonic spirit, and so he's doing like these very weird things. You know how like when he's like eating the knife or eating the table, all that stuff. Very, very cool, very, very, you know, nice new things to see on screen, but everything else is kind of a mess. And so I couldn't really get fully on board with this film. It kind of lost me like halfway through. So that's all I could say, honestly. Like, I know people love this film. People really are enthralled with this film. They really love Sally Hawkins. Like, people were writing for Sally Hawkins like back in the summer before Amy Madigan came with Weapons. Sally Hawkins was like the old chick in horror, like doing what she needed to be doing. But sorry, Sally Hawkins, Amy Madigan came and swiped you out that seat. She swiped you out that seat, and now she getting awards contention. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, but oh well, we move. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Okay, so obviously like this is written by Bruce Geller, Christopher McQuarrie, Eric Jendrison, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. It stars none other than himself, Mr. Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Ben Rangs, Simon Pegg, Isai Morales, and Pom Clementif. I really love like the experience I had with this film. I never have a bad experience with a Mission Impossible film, but after walking out of this film, I was like, oh, but that was bad. Like that was bad. That was dragged out. There was just a lot of like plot armor going on. It's just a lot of hijinks going on, as all other Mission Impossible films. But I feel like this one we kind of like got to like Fast like 8, like the Fast and Furious like films. Like we kind of got to like the Fast 8 like moment of it where it's like, okay, well, like the things that are occurring are just like too preposterous for the suspense of my disbelief or of my belief or disbelief to like really allow for what I'm viewing to like seep in as like valuable and like realistic. I'm just so far removed from like what's going on in Mission Impossible at this point. But you know, shout out to everybody that's here. I believe that was the final one. I don't think there's another one coming. Hopefully not. But we will see. You know how Hollywood works. They want their checks. And who knows if Tom Cruise is going to stop making these films. I know he has a new film coming out with an established director. I can't even remember right now. Sorry. But hopefully like he is going a different route with his career going forward. And then we can move away from the Mission Impossible films. We'll see. Eddington. Okay, Eddington is like really like one of the most annoying films that like I watched like in 2025. I give this film a 3 out of 5 stars, but honestly, I'm gonna boot this down to a 2.5 out of 5 stars. This film was so bad. This film was written by Ari Aster, directed by Ari Aster, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Deidre O'Connell, and Emma Stone, and Austin Butler, kinda. I like Ari Aster films. Actually, let me take that back. I like half of Ari Aster's films. Ari Aster currently has 4 films out. Ari Aster has Hereditary, Midsommar, Beau's Afraid, and Eddington. I only like Hereditary and Beau is Afraid. Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to like do my fingers. I only like those 2. I only like 2 films of his: Hereditary and Beau is Afraid. Midsommar, I'm like extremely mid on. I don't think Midsommar is a bad film, but I like feel nothing when I watch that film. I'm sorry. Like I watched that film 4 times when it came out, and I was like, I just can't feel anything with this, which is crazy because I really love Florence Pugh, but I move on from that. And Beau's Afraid was great. Obviously, Hereditary is like a masterpiece, modern masterpiece. Beau's Afraid, I really loved. I know a lot of people did not like Beau's Afraid. I love Beau's Afraid. Beau's Afraid is such a good film to watch intoxicated. I'm sorry. Like, I watch Beau's Afraid intoxicated annually, and it just hits perfectly every single time. Now, Eddington is a bad film. Eddington is like a political commentary on like what goes on in like rural America today, post COVID, and like all the things that Ari Aster is trying to hit on in this film are just stupid. The way that he's trying to hit on them are just very stupid. He's trying to make light and trying to make jokes of things, and I'm sorry, like, stop. Like, stop. Ari Aster is trying to push this like centrism is proper idea. Like, oh, the right is bad and like the left is just as bad ideas. Like, this is not 2017. You cannot do this no more. We're not going to take this no more. Millennials, leave us alone. Like, millennials have to leave us alone. Like, middle-aged millennials, please grow up. Like, please evolve. Please stop being Gen X and stop acting like your parents and stop removing yourself from society the second you get to an age where, you know, you have kids and you feel like you want to live on the earth until you're 90 years old. Like, please stop. Please come back down here with us youngins, and see the society for what it is and all the bullshit that's occurring in it. And not just like this, like, very like, it's such an immature way to look at the political landscape of America, to be like both sides are bad. Like, and it's also lazy. It's also lazy because you're not saying anything. You're not saying anything, especially when you have a film like this that's using so many like hyperbolic scenarios to try to make a point, when like you're really doing like Proud Boys and Antifa commentary in 2025. You're just late. You're late and you're tired. Like, you don't need to speak on that. Also, the killing of Pedro Pascal's character in this film just really rubs me the wrong way, for many reasons. And I know you're gonna say like, oh, the Joaquin Phoenix character, he basically like, you know, dies at the end, but he doesn't though. He's a vegetable, but he doesn't die. He gets to live. His whole family gets to live like off his riches going forward. So it's just like, Emma Stone is not utilized in this film at all, and neither is Austin Butler. Don't really know her there. He just had a pull in the crowd. Yeah, not a fan of this film at all. Eddington really is one of those films that like really soured the whole entire year for me, because the response to Eddington, people love Eddington. They think Eddington is like highbrow. A lot of people think Eddington is like really highbrow, really niche, really smart, really cunning commentary on politics in America, and it really isn't. Y'all need to go to rural cities. Like, all the city people who love Eddington, you need to go to a rural city. Like, please. Like, this is, I know you think that these people act this absurd out in like random towns, but it's not as like gimmicky and all of this that's in here. It's not. Joaquin Phoenix has no understanding of actually what's actually going on in rural towns, and neither does Ari Aster. So we just need to like cut the bullshit, please. I'm very, very tired of it. Hell of a Summer. Hell of a Summer was written by Billy Burke and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, and directed by Billy Burke and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things as well. It stars Fred Heitchinger, Billy Burke, Finn Wolfhard, DeFaro Atai, Abby Quinn, Krista Nazier, Finland, Daniel Gravel, Julia Doyle, Julia Lalonde, and Pardis Saremi. Why did I say all of their names? Because I think the ensemble cast of this film are good at what they're trying to do in this film. I think it's like a whole bunch of young actors who are young. They're probably like in their like early 20s. And they're really trying to just like, pop on the scene or do something here. And it feels like Billy Burke and Finn Wolfhard really just got together like all of the young actors who they like or know. And they got them in a room together and like really created something that's of value, but it's just not that good. I give this film a 3 out of 5 stars because I don't feel like this film is bad, but it's just like, it's just not doing anything. Like it just isn't. It's a whodunit film, and by the time we get to knowing like whodunit, like it just really didn't. It just didn't hit. Like the reveal wasn't like, it didn't spark anything. I think there are like some nice things that are going on in this film. I think the romanticism throughout this film between the character dynamics are nice. I think the jokes are cool. I just think that everything was just done to like a level of a 7. And nothing was done to like a level of a 10. But that's fair because I believe this is both of their directorial debuts and the first film that they've written. So, we're going to see what happens from them. Obviously, Finn Wolfhard, he's been in television since he was 12 years old. So, and he just got out of Stranger Things literally like a month ago. So he's going to move on to doing bigger and better things. And I think everybody in this cast, I hope they go on and to do bigger and better things. I also am very, like, I love seeing Fred Hetchinger on my screen. Like, I think Fred Hetchinger is really good at whatever he does. And so he just needs to keep doing whatever he does. Like, I love seeing him in Marty Supreme as well. Like, I love whenever he just pops up in something because he's just, something about him, like he's awkward. He's awkward to an extent that like makes you want to look at him. I don't know if that makes sense. Like something about him is so weird, but it's also just like kind of like luring at the same time. So I don't know how to explain it, but I am neutral on Hell of a Summer, but it is not really that good of a film. So On Swift Horses. Okay, so On Swift Horses was really like one of the most anticipated films that I had of this year. I remember in 2024, like into 2024, when people were saying On Swift Horses was coming out, which is a film that stars Jacob Elordi, Daisy Edgar Jones, Will Poulter, Sasha Calais, or Cal, I don't know how to say Sasha's last name, and then Diego Calva. It's written by Shannon Pufall and Bryce Cass, and then directed by Daniel Minahan. I really thought that this was going to be something of value. It was just like two couples, queer, crossing paths, like what could occur? Nothing. Actually, a lot occurred. A lot occurred in this film, but the writing just felt a little wonky. It just felt choppy. Like there's just so many moments that just felt like, okay, cool. I didn't really believe Jacob Elordi and Diego Calva have chemistry in this film. They don't have chemistry in this film, so it doesn't really make sense to me. Daisy Edgar Jones and Sasha do have chemistry, and I think Daisy Edgar Jones and Will Poulter do have chemistry as well. I think that was the best storyline of the film, but at the same time, it just didn't really hit that hard for me. I gave this film a 3.5 out of 5 stars because I would rewatch it, but I wouldn't tell anyone to. I wouldn't tell anyone to rewatch this film. I think it's just like something that is just gonna be like, it's just gonna float off into the abyss until Will Poulter like breaks out into some major role, or Jacob Elordi's next major role, or Daisy Edgar Jones' next major role, or even Diego Calva's next major role. But people will only remember it as like, oh, you remember when he did that movie? That's what this movie is. It's like, oh, remember when that happened? Like you remember when that like you remember when that movie came out? And then people are gonna be like, oh no, I never saw that movie. And then somebody who did see it like me is gonna be like, yeah, it wasn't nothing special, but it was just something like that. You feel me? Love, Brooklyn. Okay, Love, Brooklyn was actually one of the 3 films that I watched at Sundance 2025. I had watched 3 films at Sundance 2025. I had watched Plainclothes, Love, Brooklyn, and Bubble and Squeak. Love, Brooklyn was not my favorite film that I watched at Sundance. Obviously, Plainclothes was, as I just stated in my previous video. Love, Brooklyn, I did give 3.5 out of 5 stars. I was a little bit disappointed with Love, Brooklyn. I thought Love, Brooklyn was going to be like a classic like black rom-com film or a modern black rom-com film of today. It's written by Paul Zimmerman, directed by Rachel Holder. It stars Andre Holland, DeWanda Wise, Roy Wood Jr., and none other than herself, Miss Nicole Bahari. And let me tell you, Miss Nicole Bahari is the best part of this film, and that's the reason why the film kind of sucks in my opinion, because it tries to backseat Nicole Bahari's character and give like more more grace and attention to DeWanda Wise's character, when I don't think that's what this should have been. This film should have been centered around Nicole Bahari's character, and Andre Holland and DeWanda Wise and Roy Wood Jr. should have been supporting cast members, and Nicole Bahari's character should have been the center line. That's all I'm going to say about this. Give Nicole Bahari the world, please. I'm begging. The Roses. Okay, The Roses has a horrible third act. Like a horrible third act. I think The Roses has the worst ending that I've seen of a film in 2025. Am I concrete with saying that? The Roses has the worst ending of a film that I've seen in 2025. I will say yes, because even though I felt like their ending of Sentimental Value was some bullshit, I think Sentimental Value is a way better film than The Roses, so I'm going to push that high up on the list. I think the worst ending of 2025 occurred in The Roses, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars, but really, we can knock that down to 2.5 out of 5 stars. The Roses is written by Warren Adler, Tony McNamara, and directed by Jay Roach. It stars Olivia Colman, Benedict Cumberbatch, Kate McKinnon, Andy Samberg, Shruti Gatwa, and Sunita Mani. What do I want to say about this film? It's cute. It has a lot of cute moments. Ooh, this film is beautiful. It's shot in Monterey, I believe, Monterey, California, or set in Monterey, California. There's like the most best like scenic shots that I've seen in 2025 in this film. I will give it that. I think this film ends like the worst that any film in 2025 has ended. But I do think that the scenic shots in this film are some of the best scenic shots that we've seen in the year 2025. So I will give it that. Yeah, the ending's stupid. I'm not even really going to get into it. It's like I said before. If you end a film like saying like nothing, like, they don't even do that in this film. They don't even say nothing matters. They end this film just like, we didn't know how to write an ending. That's what it felt like. This film ends like, we didn't know how to write the ending. We didn't know how to sum up the story. It's just going to keep going on like this forever. And it's like, what did I watch this for then? There's no resolution. We don't get any resolution in this film. I'm not even going to get into this film. Moving on. Frankenstein. Frankenstein was cool. It's written by Guillermo del Toro and Mary Shelley. Obviously, it's adapted from a book, and it's directed by Guillermo del Toro himself. It stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth. My thoughts on this film: it's totally perfectly fine. People raving about this film. You are doing a lot. People who hate this film, you're kind of doing a lot as well, because there is some qualities to this film. Like, this film isn't just like doo-doo, but this film is not great. Anyone who like is actually pining for anything occurring in regards to this film for Oscars, you're delusional. You have bad taste. Those are my opinions on this film. We're gonna move on. How to Train Your Dragon. Okay, so this is the live action How to Train Your Dragon. It's written by Dean DeBlois, Cressida Cowell, William Davies, and directed by Dean DeBlois. It stars Mason Thames, Nico Parker, Gerard Butler. What did I think about this film? I love the original animated How to Train Your Dragon. I think that's one of the best animated films this century, and animated stories this century. However, this film was just like a one-to-one recreation of it, and I think the moments of this film that were great were the moments where they diverted from the original story that was in the animated film. I think when you have like the pieces of the story that were diverted from it, and I can just give you an example where like you have Snotlout and his parent dynamic gets more shine in this film, and I think like those are pieces that we just did not get to see in the animated film that like they give us insight here. And like even in this film they give you more insight into like the clan makeup of Burke, right? Things like that are really, really smart and unique, but then everything else is just a one-to-one recreation of the animated film, and I actually would rather watch the animated film rather than watching a live action film. So to me, like, this is not really that good of an adaptation in my opinion, and I'm not gonna rewatch it ever. I know they're making a sequel to it. I'll rewatch that just to see what they add to it. I believe Cate Blanchett just got casted to play Hiccup's mother, so that's going to be interesting. But other than that, I'm down on this film. Final Destination, Bloodlines. I love Final Destination films. This one, Bloodlines, is written by Guy Busick, Laurie Evan Taylor, John Watts, directed by Zach Lebowski and Adam B. Stein. Stars Caitlin Santajuana, Tio Briones, Rhea Kilstead, Richard Harmon, Owen Patrick Joyner, and Tony Todd. I think there's a lot of cool kills in this film, but I don't think this film is better than any of like the top Final Destination films. Like, you know, the original Final Destination, Final Destination 3, and Final Destination 4, I believe, or Final Destination 5. It's not outdoing those. It was a cute little premise. I did like it. It was a fun time. I think the opening scene was cool, but it was nothing to rave about, honestly. So I give this 2.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on. The Long Walk. Okay, so you know how like when I shouted from the rooftops like Superman was bad? I need to get on like a spaceship, go to the satellite that orbits our planet, and then I need to broadcast that this film is bad across every single network on Earth. Because it seems like nobody wants to admit that this film is bad when this film is horrendous. This film is horrible. I don't really understand how people are getting away with saying that this film is of quality when it is not. The Long Walk is written by J.T. Molnar and Stephen King. It's obviously adapted from the Stephen King novel. It's directed by Francis Lawrence. It stars Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Garrett Waring, Toot Nyot, Ben Wang, and Mark Hamill. I don't understand what is enthralling about this film or enticing or exhilarating or heartfelt or just compelling about this film to people. Like, we've gotten so many like YA dystopian films. We've gotten great YA dystopian films in the past decade. And this falls like at the bottom of the list. I just don't understand. There's nothing about this film that is good in my opinion. The writing is shitty. The VFX suck. The beats, they don't hit. I don't think the characterizations are done well. I just don't find Cooper Hoffman's character to be this like very like endearing character. I don't find him to be sympathetic towards his character. I don't think David Johnson's character is charismatic at all. I think David Johnson is doing the worst Southern accent I have heard a black person do in so long. And we've had a lot of black Brits do Southern accents. Like Cynthia Erivo as Harriet Tubman is doing better here. Damson Idris as like a South Central like LA native is doing better than what David Johnson is doing here. I think Idris Elba as somebody from Atlanta is doing better than what David Johnson is doing here. It's just like, what was going on? Why does he even have an accent like that? Like, just cast a black American at this point, or just have him be British. Like, I really don't care. Nobody cares about this lore enough for us to really care if he's British or not. It doesn't really matter. All the other like supporting roles, they don't get enough shine for me to care about them. Mark Hamill, you look crazy. Mark Hamill, you look crazy taking this role and doing this role as you did this role. The antagonistic figure in Mark Hamill does not make sense. It doesn't feel, there's no weight. There's no weight to this film. I feel no weight. I saw this film at a midnight screening as well. I thought I was really going to go in and people were talking about it very highly. I was going to go in feeling like this was a good YA, like dystopian film, which I love. And it's not good. It's not good at all. The whole last entire like raining sequence sucks. It's very bad. I think the direction here is poor. I think the writing here is poor. I think everything about this film is poor. I think the acting of this film is poor. I think this film looks poor. This film doesn't look good in my opinion. So I hate this film. I really do. I really don't like this film. I give this film 2.5 out of 5 stars. You really could bump this down to a 1 out of 5 stars if you want to, and I will not complain. I will actually give you a thumbs up. One of them days. Okay, yes. So this film's like one of the most beloved films at the top of 2025, right? I think it was like the first blockbuster to hit the theaters last year. It's written by Sarita Singleton. It's directed by Lawrence Lamont. It stars Keke Palmer and SZA, Patrick Cage, and Maude Apatow. I think this film is cute. I'll give that. This film is cute. But like the writing of this film is just very like late. This film should have been made in 2016. This film should have been made in 2017. I think SZA is great here. I think SZA is giving her, best introduction into her acting abilities here. In my opinion, I think her comedic talents are being shown here, which I think she does have comedic chops. Keke Palmer, obviously she's great at comedy, so she's doing what she always does, but like she's not doing anything special in this film. I think Keke Palmer's doing the status quo for what Keke Palmer does on screen. Everything else is just like, okay. I think the firefighter guy, he's fine. Like he's like very attractive, so that's a plus for everybody who's watching, I guess, right? They said they're gonna make a sequel to this. There doesn't need to be a sequel to this. But if you do that, I'm not gonna be mad. I'll sit there, I'll watch it. Cool, who cares? The Accountant 2. Okay, so this is a sequel to The Accountant. So this film is written by Bill Dubuque. It's directed by Gavin O'Connor. It stars Ben Affleck and John Bernthal. And also has Cynthia Adai Robinson as a supporting character in this film. So if you've seen The Accountant, which I think is miles better than this film, The First Accountant is like a really good film. Like in my opinion, not a really good, but it's a solid film. It's an actual good film. This film, The Accountant 2, is not an actually good film. It's a very bad and tacky film. However, it is a great sequel to follow up from The Accountant, to where if you were really enthralled with the dynamic between John Bernthal and Ben Affleck in The First Accountant, you will be so happy and pleased to follow up with this film, because they just really lean into the brother dynamics in this film, and I really love that. I just find Ben Affleck and John Bernthal to be very, very endearing in this film. I know I keep using the term endearing, but that's all that can come to mind when I think of like, what do I like about films? It's just very heartfelt in this, in my opinion. Like the heartfelt moments in this film are perfect, even though the writing is stupid and the action is stupider. All the gun combat that's going on in this film, nobody should be alive. Ben Affleck's character nor John Bernthal's character should be alive. Doesn't really make sense. The twists were kind of like, but it was cute. It was cute. I'd give this a 2 out of 5 stars. It's definitely a 2 out of 5 star movie, but it was a cute follow up. I hope they don't keep making more. We already had the first one. Can we just let the first one be as good as the first one is? Cool. Also, they should have brought Anna Kendrick back. That's all I'm gonna say. Bring Anna Kendrick back. We need more Anna Kendrick on our screens. Thank you. Honey Don't. So Honey Don't, it's written by Ethan Coen and Tricia Cook, and it's directed by Ethan Coen. It stars Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans. This is like the most like nothing burger film. I know that's not a way to criticize anything, right? To call something like a nothing burger, but really like there's just so little going on. There's so much going on in this film, but yet so little going on in this film. Margaret Qualley, obviously she's known for being in films that mean nothing, that are meaningless, and she makes no impact in, but I love her. She is my doll. Like Margaret Qualley, I will always follow you. I will always go sit and see what you are working in. She has this new movie coming out with Glenn Powell in a few months that I'm gonna go and watch, because I go and support my queens, and Margaret Qualley is one of my queens. Aubrey Plaza here is as like the like love interest, but also the antagonist. I didn't like the twist. It was stupid. Chris Evans is here as like just a very like abusive priest figure. I didn't really find him endearing at all. Chris Evans really isn't endearing anymore on screen. The only time he's endearing is when he is Captain America now. And so he's going to return to being Captain America this December. I guess good for us. Mountainhead. Okay, Mountainhead. Mountainhead is written and directed by Jesse Armstrong. It stars Stephen Carell, Jason Schwartzman, Corey Michael Smith, and Rami Youssef. What do I have to say about Mountainhead? You can't put on Succession's wig and be Succession. You can't. You can't put on Succession's wig and be Succession. And so this film wasn't Succession. It wanted to be Succession. And it's such an isolated story and so high up. It's so high level, but such an isolated story, and in the worst ways. It took the framework for Succession, because it's created by the same people who created Succession, if you didn't know. And it tried to apply it to like these other like known figures like Stephen Carell, like not Stephen, but Steve Carell and Jason Schwartzman and Rami Youssef. But like, it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Even though I think Rami Youssef's character is the most endearing character in this film, and I feel like if we centered him, it would have been more interesting of a plot. It just wouldn't be a good film regardless, in my opinion. It's very like, we just like threw some money at some people who used to work at HBO, and we put out some more product. It didn't work as well. I don't think anybody cares about the film. I don't think anybody's going to talk about this film come, this year. So, or even like 10 years from now. So this gets a 2 out of 5 stars. Wicked for Good. Okay, Wicked for Good, obviously it's a sequel to Wicked, which came out last year, written by Winnie Holzman, Dana Fox, Stephen Schwartz, directed by John M. Chu himself, starring Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, Michelle Yeoh, and Jeff Goldblum. This is like a very bad sequel. It really is. I feel like they try to like eat off of the momentum that they had from the first one, but they just couldn't, which also doesn't make sense for me because they were shot at the same time. Like, how do we like go down in like quality so rapidly and energy? It's just like, it just plummets into the ground, this film. Nothing about this film makes me feel better about the lore. Do I think Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo look great in this film? Yes, they do. I think so much about this film is very awkward. Everything about this film is so awkward. All the singing moments are awkward. All of the love interest moments are awkward. All the CGI moments, awkward. All of the beats, awkward. All of the story endings, awkward. It's just very awkward, and it's like miles below the first Wicked. I'm sorry, like the first Wicked is so much better than this film, even though it is a coming of age tale, that first Wicked film, and this one is kind of like trying to like build on to that. It's kind of like trying to be like this like like each rivalry film, but that's not really what it is. And I also just don't think that like the reconciliation between Glinda and Elphaba is like good. Like it's just not done well. It doesn't even make sense to me. It really doesn't. After all this stuff has happened to Elphaba, I don't really understand how she's so endearing. It's just too fantasy for me. It's like it wants me to believe that all this stuff could possibly happen in like all of these different type of character dynamics, and it just can't. It just can't. And so I'm just hope that we get to move on from Wicked after this Oscar season and never have to return to it again. The Life of Chuck. Okay, so The Life of Chuck, before I saw like a few other films, The Life of Chuck was like literally like one of the worst like film experiences I had in theater. I went to The Life of Chuck like not really knowing what I was getting into because like the trailers didn't tell you anything at all. This film is developed from Stephen King's book. It's written by Mike Flanagan and directed by Mike Flanagan. It stars Tom Hiddleston, Jacob Tremblay, Benjamin Paget, Chiwetel Ejiofor, I always mess up his last name, and Karen Gillan, and I think Matthew Lillard is also in this film to a certain extent. This is such a bad film. It's just a bad film. I don't even have time to talk about this film, like honestly. I don't even know what I want to say about this film. This film, everyone who's behind this film thought that they were doing something so profound and so highbrow and so exquisite and excellent and of a high quality when they really weren't. The only thing that's done of a high quality in this film is like the dancing. Well, I would say also like all like the CGI and VFX that are going on in the sky. But outside of that, like it looks really nice, but everything else is just like bad. The story is just so bad in this film, and I just don't care about the characters. And it just really like if this film just like honed in on the apocalyptic storytelling that's going on in the film, I think it would have been way better. But then you try to lock in on the character of Chuck, and it just falls apart. It just falls apart. And then like the whole locked door stuff, it doesn't make sense to me. Not at all. Moving on. Opus. Okay, so you have Opus. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I gave Opus a 2 out of 5 stars. I did not like this film at all. It's written by Mark Anthony Green and directed by Mark Anthony Green, starring none other than herself, Miss Ayo Edebiri or Edebiri. I can't ever understand how to say Ayo's last name, but I think it's Edebiri. John Malkovich, Juliette Lewis, Murray Bartlett, and Young Mazzino as well. All I can say about this film is I want Ayo to choose better roles. That's all I want to say. I get it. She wanted to do her own film. She wanted to be a lead actress. I want her to choose better roles, and I want young Mazzino to get better roles as well. That's all I'm going to say about this film. I don't really need to like look back on it. It's stupid, in my opinion. Moving on. Speaking of stupid, I don't think this film I'm about to talk about is stupid, but I think this film I'm about to talk about is like very boring. This film is called Companion. I give this film 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's written by Drew Hancock, directed by Drew Hancock, and stars Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Megan Suri, Harvey Guillen, and Jabukian White. I had to think about this before I said it. I don't really think I like Sophie Thatcher that much. There's just been too many roles that I've had to like side eye Sophie Thatcher, and I know she's trying to be like this kind of scream queen, but I'm not really that like I'm not vibing with you really like that, girl. I'm not. Companion was the only film in 2025 that I fully fell asleep during. Like Companion was so boring and like just so try hard in my opinion that like I just fully fell asleep. And my friends literally woke him up and they're like, hey, like you fell asleep, which is crazy. My friends were like, whoa, like you fell asleep during the movie. So I was like, I'm bored. I'm bored. And this is like kind of lame. So that's all I really have to say about the film because I fell asleep for half the film. The whole second act, I wasn't there for. And you can say like that's bad on my part, but like the first act was just that bland. And then the third act, it was just like, oh God, oh brother, is this, okay, this is where we are. And the ending was just like, okay, never gonna return to this again. There's no reason for me to talk about this film again. So, let's just go ahead and move on as well. All right, now we get into like my bottom 5 films of the year. These are films that I just like really, really hate. These are films that like I just feel like just are worth nothing. There's no reason that these films should have been made. Everybody a part of these films, you should be disappointed in yourself. First up is J. Kelly. I give J. Kelly a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Written by Noah Baumbach and Emily Mortimer and directed by Noah Baumbach himself, starring Mr. George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Riley Keough, Grace Edwards, Laura Dean, and Billy Crudup. Jay Kelly is like hyper. It's too self aware of itself for it to be as like respected as it was in like the award season contention. There was just Netflix was pushing out checks and the checks were cashing. People were really like considering Jay Kelly because Adam Sandler's out here getting nominations, or he was getting nominations for Best Supporting Actor, and George Clooney was kind of being considered and talked about at the beginning of the press for this movie as well. And it just really didn't make sense to me after I saw the movie because the film is so bad. This film is so bad. This film like feels like it's three other types of films when it's really like just like a much shittier film. I think George Clooney, you gotta stop. Like you gotta stop, and that's all I really can say. Like that final scene, you gotta stop. Like I get it, the self jerking and all of the stuff that you're doing in this film. It felt right to you. It was not right to you. I found it to be very odd. I found it to be very self-absorbed. And then you have Adam Sandler here who thinks that he's playing like this very profound and rounded character when he's not profound or rounded at all. He's very flat and like really, it's really odd. All the things that Adam Sandler's character, like all the motivations surrounding Adam Sandler's character in this film just don't make sense to me at all. Like anything that going on with his family, anything going on with his love interest in Laura Dern, who I just don't know why she's here. She literally leaves by the time we get through the middle of the film. Like Laura Dern just like gets out of there. It doesn't really make sense to me after like she kisses Adam Sandler character who's like obviously married, but then like you don't even really care that she kisses him because he's married, because the film doesn't allow Greta Gerwig's character, who's playing Adam Sandler's wife, to even feel like a real person. She doesn't even feel like she's a wife. She feels like she's a nanny. Really, like you don't even really register that she's his wife until later on in the film when he like calls her and is like, babe, like how are the kids? It just doesn't register. Every single other scene, it feels like she's like the nanny. Like that's how like odd this like film feels to me. I don't know if Noah Baumbach has a thing about like making his wife be somebody else's wife on screen, but he didn't do it well. Billy Crudup, you did great, I guess. I know people were like, oh, Billy Crudup. There was like a moment when people were like, Billy Crudup needs to be like nominated for at the Oscars for Best Supporting Actor. For one scene, for one good scene, like the damage Isabella Rossellini did in Conclave for like supporting actor categories, where people feel like if you have 2 minutes of good performance on screen, you should be able to just be in like Oscar contention. It's kind of crazy to me. Was that scene good? Yes, but he wasn't really doing. He was doing the best that anyone has done in the film. I will give him that. But was he doing anything better than people that are doing outside of this film? No. So like we all have to like be serious for a second. I know that he was doing better than whatever other bullshit everybody else came to do in this film, but he's not just like walking on water. So we don't have to try to act like he is. Death of a Unicorn. This film like sucks. It's written by Alex Schwartzman, directed by Alex Schwartzman, starring Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Anthony Carrigan, Richard E. Grant, and T. Leomi. I really have nothing to say about this film. Jenna Ortega, I don't know what you're doing with your career. I don't. I want you to get that together. Get your career like together. Paul Rudd, get your career together as well. You're just doing a lot of like cash grab films. Don't really understand what's going on your end. I don't know if you have like a new mansion you're trying to get built, or like you got a car you want, or you're trying to like put like, maybe you have like 3 kids that I don't know about through college and like make sure that they're well off if you die tomorrow. I don't know what's going on, but everybody involved in this, like everybody just came to get a check. It's a very stupid film. I can't even talk about this film. Let's just move on. Highest to lowest. Okay, so I did say that, I forgot which film that I said was like the most disappointing film of the year, but Highest to Lowest actually isn't the most disappointing of the film of the year, because I actually have no expectations for Spike Lee himself in today's time. This film is written by Evan Hunter, Akira Kurosawa, and Hideo Oguni, because it is adapted from a book. It's directed by Spike Lee himself, and it stars Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, Ifanish Hadera, Aubrey Joseph, Rick Fox, and A$AP Rocky. Like I said earlier when I was talking about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. A$AP Rocky, please leave us alone. Please leave us alone. That's all I'm going to say, like, off rip. A$AP Rocky, we don't believe it. We don't believe that you want to be an actual actor. Please stay out of actual films that are supposed to be of quality. But honestly, since I didn't like both of the films that he was in, I kind of understand why he's in those films, because they're already films that aren't of quality. That's why he's in those films. No shade. I've held the belief that like Spike Lee just can't like make a good film anymore for like the past, like ever since BlacKkKlansman. I was just like, okay, so Spike Lee just like can't really make good films. Cause I didn't really like BlacKkKlansman either. And so I'm just like, but I kind of held with it. I kind of held my tongue on that because, why would I go and disgrace Spike Lee? Like, why would I go out in public and disgrace Spike Lee? But this film really like confirmed that like I need to go out there and disgrace Spike Lee because this film sucks. And everybody is like letting Spike Lee off with murder by saying that this film is of quality. It's not of quality at all. Back when it first came out, people were like, oh my gosh, I love this about this film. I love this about this film. I love this about this film. People keep doing this. They keep doing this to well-respected directors. They keep letting them off with murder because they're well-respected. And I want them to stop doing that. Stop letting these old dudes just get away with murder because they made some good films in the past. We don't have to do that. They will not be affected if people don't like their film. I promise you. And so people letting Spike Lee create something that's so out of touch, like Highest to Lowest, is insane to me. Having everybody who's a part of this cast be a part of this film that's so out of touch is insane to me. Denzel Washington really believing that this film is like, I know he said he did it as a favor. I believe he did it as a favor because there's no way that he read the script and really thought that it was of quality. He's just doing it because it's Spike Lee. And that's really sad to me. Like, it's really sad because like we really don't get a lot of black films in film anymore. In 2025, we didn't really get a lot of black films. Obviously, we got Sinners, which is like the best black film of the year, in my opinion. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's a better black film in 2025 than Sinners. But Highest to Lowest is definitely the worst black film of the year. And the fact that it's created by like one of the most well-respected black film creators in the industry is insane to me. And everybody else just going along with it is insane to me. Jeffrey Wright's character is a caricature. Everybody's a caricature in this film. The last 5 minutes of this film, like you're trying to just give this random like little singer girl, I don't know who she's related to. I don't know what type of Nepo baby she is. You're trying to give her the spotlight. We don't care. We're not listening to the music. We're moving on. Hurry Up Tomorrow. Okay, so this film is written by Trey Edward Schultz and The Weeknd and Reza Fahim, and it's directed by Trey Edward Schultz himself as well, starring The Weeknd, Jenna Ortega, and Barry Keoghan. As I just said, Jenna Ortega, I want you to make better choices. I want you to make better choices in your career, sister. I really do, because you're not making good choices at all. This film is so bad. This film is like not even worth talking about. It's so bad. Like, it's just so bad. It means nothing. It has no premise. It has no purpose. The messaging in the story doesn't make sense. This film is just a shell for promotion of The Weeknd's catalog. That's all it is. It's a self-jerking film for Abel Tesfaye. And I really want The Weeknd to like get out of this weird loser era that he's in right now. The whole entire Hurry Up Tomorrow era, from the music down to the tour, down to the film, down to the press, everything that's going on with it, down to the music videos, down to the collabs, down to everything, the aesthetics, everything that's going on with it. It's just so loserish. And I want you to stop being a loser. I want you able to realize that you are one of the greatest pop stars, male pop stars, I should say, to exist on planet Earth. And you need to start acting like it, and you need to stop trying to like, garner sympathy from people with like this fake motivation to appeal to people through your music, when that's not what you do to people. Like, you like appeal to us. With Hurry Up Tomorrow, The Weeknd wants us to believe that he has a deeper there's more to him than meets the eye, and there isn't. There just isn't. And if there is, it's not interesting. So when you have The Idol and then you have Hurry Up Tomorrow film back to back, and they're both just very hollow depictions of who he's trying to present himself as, or trying to like make himself this more well-rounded person, or well-rounded actor, well-rounded performer, you're not selling it to anyone. Nobody's believing it. The people who are believing it, they don't even know you. They weren't there in 2011. I'm sorry, they just weren't. They don't know you like your true fans do. So it's really disappointing to see him like just go so low. Like, we were so high, and like the beginning, The Weeknd literally was like the top artist in 2020. We started this decade with The Weeknd being like the top artist of like the world at that point, in my opinion. I believe so, in 2020. Yeah, because Taylor Swift was like so down and out in 2020. Like, she didn't bounce back until after 2020. And so The Weeknd was like so high, and since then he's just been going down, crash. And the crash was the Hurry Up Tomorrow era. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I gave this film 1 out of 5 stars. Don't need to go back to it ever again. And last but not least, or actually it is least, is Captain America Brave New World. This film is so bad. This film is the epitome of like how tacky and trashy like the MCU has gotten post Endgame. It's written by Robert Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, Dalen Muzan, directed by Julius Ona, starring Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, and Giancarlo Esposito. I think everyone in this film is doing a horrible job. I think Anthony Mackie, the characterization that they have of you as Sam Wilson in the MCU has just become a caricature. You're not your own character anymore. They're trying to make you something that Sam Wilson wasn't, and it's really sad to see you go for it. Harrison Ford, you're here to get a check. Cool. Red Hulk looks stupid. It's all stupid. All of the Red Hulk stuff is stupid. Harrison Ford as the president, stupid. Danny Ramirez, I love that you're getting your check. Go ahead and get your check, baby. We got higher plans for you. You're gonna get those higher plans. Okay, so I can overlook this one thing. I can overlook this one thing, Danny. I promise you I can. Shira Haas, please never be in another film. I don't want you to ever be in another film ever again. Especially if you're gonna give a performance like as you did in this film. I can't believe they tried to recreate the Natasha aesthetic with Shira Haas's character in this film when you already redid it with Yelena and it worked, and then you do it again here and it's so bad and tacky. Julius Onah, you really just don't need to work again. Like, in my opinion, just don't work, and like everybody else will be happy. Unfortunately, Giancarlo Esposito, give the shtick up. Give the shtick up. That's all I'm asking. And those are my thoughts on that. So yes, we end 2025 with a lot of duds, a lot of dead films that I watched, a lot of films that I walked away from being like, wow, I wasted 2.5 hours of my life. A lot of films that I walked away from being like, that person who made that film, or that person who shot that film, or that person who did the sound for that film, or that person who acted in this film, I don't ever want to watch another film with them in again. But there were also a lot of great films in the year 2025, so my faith is not broken. I have a lot of faith for 2026. I'm hoping that this year doesn't fail me in the ways that 2025 failed me. So far, I've seen 3 films from this year, and I can't say that I truly like dislike any of the 3 films that I've seen so far. So we're already starting off to a good start. Hopefully we stay there. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff coming out this year. There's not a lot of stuff coming out this year. We'll see. Sundance is around the corner. Sundance is 2 weeks away. I'm going to make a video in regards to the films that I watched for Sundance, so be on the lookout for that. I'm also going to come to you with a few other videos before the end of the month, I believe, so stay tuned. And thank you for watching this video again. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Do all of that stuff. Leave a comment in the comments with your worst films of the year as well, so I can see if we are on the same page, or if we aren't. Maybe one film that I did not like you loved. Let me know. Maybe I was wrong, or maybe you just don't have taste and I do. Regardless, I'm a wannabe cinephile, and these are my thoughts. Bye.